Hey everyone, this is Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central, and I'm here today with Carter Smith, director of the new film Swallowed, and also director of The Ruins. Hello, how are
Yes,
you, Carter?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so excited for the world to experience Swallowed. It is gross and gay, which are my favorite things.
Yes, me
And
too.
and I wanted to hear more about that from you because you have All the Dead Boys, which is kind of like gross gay photography, and also kind of put the movie out under that banner. So I wanted to hear more about
Yeah,
what All the Dead Boys is.
all the Dead Boys started as like I have a background in fashion photography where
Mm.
everything is sort of beautiful and commercial and pretty. And like at a certain point, I just got so tired of like dealing with, you know, clients and advertising agencies and publicists and, sort of having everyone hover around the monitor, sort of putting in their 2 cents. And I'd sort of fallen out of
Mm.
love with taking pictures in a way. And I was like, I have to find a way to fall in love with taking pictures again. Like when I started, it was me and the person I was photographing, and it was just like two people, and it was about creating. And so I was like, what do I like? I like dark, dirty, gross, disturbing imagery and naked boys. And boom, All the Dead Boys was born. And I like that day when I came up with that, I was like, is allthedeadboys.com available? And it was. And so it was a done deal. Um, but like the idea of creating just for you, or just for me rather, like creating something that felt very much my own, and it was an expression of like, my weird little very specific take, was also, what led to me writing Swallowed, was to explore that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I know Swallowed is like kind of different from what you've made before, and was kind of just you and a really small crew, right? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a pretty was it a self-funded project for the
Yeah, it
most
was
part?
it was teeny tiny. I mean, we would have taken outside financing if we'd been able to get anyone on board, but I mean, for whatever reason, it was very much like, I was prepared from the beginning, and it was written from the beginning to be something that I could just go do on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
and sort of, while I would have loved to have had a crew of 15, like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like having a crew of 8, was incredible. And like, you're mobile, and you're kind of, it's fewer mouths to feed, and it's like you sort of gel into this like creative little bundle, which was super exciting. Like I had not worked like that before.
Well, and you guys were in the middle of nowhere in Maine for a lot of it,
Yeah.
right? And it was like very much just all of you in a very secluded location. Because was it the cabin that you filmed in? Did you stay in that cabin?
No, thank God. But that cabin is I mean, because that was like a one-room cabin. Like the cabin is my dad built that cabin as a hunting and fishing
That's
cabin,
right.
off, and it's totally off the grid. And like I grew up like going there in junior high, and I mean, I'm not a fisherman, I'm not a hunter. Like I would bring Stephen King books and read them in that room. So like to be
Wait,
able
that's
to
such an
come
incredible
back,
vibe.
yeah,
Stephen
it's
King in
perfect.
Maine.
It's
Like that's
perfect for reading
incredible.
Stephen King. Yeah. But like that was our main location, and like there's no power, there's no electricity, there's no internet, there's no cell reception, there's no flushing toilets. There's an outhouse. Like the outhouse that you see in the film is that's the outhouse. So on the one hand it was really tough, but on the other hand, like, everyone was super focused. Like nobody was on their phones.
That's wild. That's so true. I didn't think about that. Like, well, everyone has to like just there's nothing else to do. Wow. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to hear about the bugs because the bugs
Yes,
are nasty little friends in this movie. And I wanted to hear more about
yes.
how you designed the bugs, like where the design and how that worked to make your bugs come to life.
Yeah, so the bugs were born from like a lot of back and forth between Dan Martin and I. And Dan Martin's an incredible special effects artist who has done movies like Color Out of Space and Possessor and like all
Oh,
these amazing things.
cool.
And I had met him at a film festival, and just we hit it off. And when I sent him the script, I was like, I've got this tiny little movie, and I need a couple tiny little bugs. And he was like, I'm in. Like once he read the script, he was in, and it was just immediately sending images back and forth. And he was like, I can do it. I can make them. I can send them to you. We'll do a Zoom, and I'll teach you how to puppeteer them, because they were all
Oh,
animatronic. Um, so they're based on real bugs. I mean, it was all nature stuff.
yeah.
Sort of close up. The giant tobacco hornworm beetle, I think, was a big, not beetle. Giant
Ooh.
tobacco hornworm was a big inspiration. Yeah.
Ooh. So they're puppeteered. So there was someone on set like making them move in the
Yeah,
when they were.
like we took a little
Whoa.
Zoom, we took a little Zoom lesson. Like none of us had any experience. And as you can imagine, like with only 8 people and the bugs, like when you see them and there's multiple ones, each bug requires two people or two hands to move each one. So like basically the only person not puppeteering the bugs at some points was the Alex, the DP, who was holding the camera. Like I'm laying on the floor, our everyone is like underneath the thing puppeteering bugs. And like it was kind of this crazy, like, let's just pitch in and we're all gonna figure out how to do what needs to be done.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
And
I
then
still have them.
of course,
Yeah,
how
of
many do you
course.
have? How many? Three,
I
four?
think I think there's like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Just hide them in your apartment
I-
just to find them,
yeah,
like for people to
yeah.
find.
They're kind of
Well,
bulky. Like the animatronic stuff is bulky. I was
oh
surprised.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you have the worms. Well, you obviously built this really cool world and Swallowed. Is there a universe where you'd want to make another film? And what would that film look like if you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a good chance that Benjamin brings the bugs to LA when he moves there to be a porn star. Like I think those bugs could come in handy in the adult film industry with their side effects. But
I
yeah, I
think
think I think that
this
to me, like the idea of creating a universe like that is super fun. Like
it's so
I would love to see like, what Mark Patton's character is like before, like a prequel. I would love to see more of him. I would love to see Benjamin in LA, like sort of navigating porn.
Wait, Carter,
All of
you were
it.
making your own X like Ty West thing. You have Swallowed, then you have the Pearl with Mark Patton prequel, and then you have Maxine with
Yes,
Benjamin going to LA, but make way gayer and
I'm
grosser and
in
more
for it.
transgressive. I think
Yeah,
like
with
that's
way
the
more
move.
dick. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Well, and I mean, this movie is so gay, but like in a way that we don't usually see in horror. It's not centered around queer like coming out, like this, like the kind of standard
Angst. Yeah.
experiences you see in film. It's just like inherently gay, which is
It's a little more
incredible.
matter of fact. Like it's not the
Yeah.
center of the story. It's sort of, the characters are who they are, and that's kind of you sort of deal with it and then, experience the story through them.
Yeah. And I love the way the horrific intimacy is how this film be described. And what does horrific intimacy mean to you? Like, what does that phrase mean to you?
I mean, I think that intimacy can be scary regardless,
Yeah.
so immediately it's a little scary. But like the idea that that, what happens in this film would, Benjamin is in love with Dom. Dom is a great guy, but like, he doesn't love him back in the same way. And like, I was like, what is the most horrific position I could put these two characters in? And, and it's sort of like a weird, messed up wish fulfillment gone horribly wrong. And I mean, I think that like body horror, which this is, sort of body horror-esque, is, about losing control of your body and sort of not
Yeah.
understanding and sort of being in control of what is happening, on the inside, on the outside, like whatever. So um I mean, yeah, there's a lot of horrific intimacy.
It's the best way to describe this movie. It's
Yeah,
amazing. But so I think that kind of what adds to the horrific intimacy is the way the film is shot. Is it 4:3? Is that the
yeah,
aspect
for
ratio
three. Yeah,
you
yeah,
use? So
yeah.
why did it kind of the idea of confining the space kind of again brings people together in that intimate way? But I just wanted to hear more from you about why choosing to kind of restrict the space of the lens a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know I I didn't plan it so much, but like when talking about it with the DP, like, I mean, obviously we made the decision. It wasn't something that was in place from the beginning, but once I sort of realized how claustrophobic I wanted it to feel, and I sort of knew that we were going to be in this cabin, and I was super familiar with the cabin, having gone there my whole, forever.
Yeah.
Like I knew that like, I wanted to be right with them and right up in those faces. And the way that
Yeah.
a close-up looks in 4:3, where the face fills the frame, is just something so, and with the faces of the cast, especially, it was like, okay, I need those faces big, and I need, I need, people feeling claustrophobic and sort of, you
Um,
know, uncomfortable with what's going on. if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And,
And
and also
uh
like from a from the standpoint of like, with a tighter frame, you also like, you don't have to worry about lighting,
that's true.
widescreen. You
That's
don't have to worry
true.
about set dressing. You don't have to worry, like there's some practical elements to it as well. But for me, it was more the creative, like the visual aspects and the close-ups of it all.
Yeah. So I'm a Cooper and Jose's like chemistry is ridiculous in this movie. Like I'm like they're so in love and it like really resonates. And I got to talk to them yesterday and like how they kind of got along with the project. But what was it like to watch that intimacy between the two of them like grow? Like that must have been so kind of cool and weird to watch that happen in front of you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because it kind of like flowered on its own. Like it was, it's sort of, we were lucky enough that both of them were able to come to Maine a little bit early. And so they
Yeah.
just got to spend time together. I didn't want to rehearse stuff, and I didn't want to like, especially the more difficult stuff. I mean, we talked a lot about blocking and how it was going to be shot, but I didn't want to rehearse.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, you guys go and spend the entire day together and, sort of just spend time with each other. And so for me, watching it unfold on screen was just so exciting because like I knew that it was going to be great, but then like to see it, in real life it was just like a dream come true.
It's like so hot. Sorry, but like it's
Yeah.
just but
Yeah.
like it adds
That's
to it. Like
that too.
it sorry, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's by design. Like, it was 100% intentional. Don't worry.
Well, and then you have like this incredible intimacy between the two of them, and you have Mark Patton's character just like bursting in with like his like incredible like lines and just his bitchy attitude. And how did you get Mark Patton involved in this project? Because wow, like incredible choice and an incredible performance for him in the back half of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it for Mark,
Oh, you
100%.
did?
Like
Okay.
oh yeah, he was 100% like the Rich that I had in my mind as I was writing.
Oh,
I had
cool.
seen him in Scream Queen, so I sort of became fascinated with him, with Mark the person. Um,
Yeah.
and so wrote it with him in mind. Not I didn't have any connection to him. I didn't have any in. I just basically
Yeah.
sent him a DM on Instagram and said, like, I wrote a movie for you. And he was like, yeah. I was like, no, really, I wrote a movie for you. And like so it took a little bit of like back and forth to convince him that I was like a real filmmaker making a real movie. Um, and then once he read it, it took even a little more convincing because he was like, oh, I don't know, Rich is, he was a little bit, hesitant to kind of step in and go
Oh,
go full on, which is kind of what the role requires. But
yeah.
once he committed, he was 100% in. And um, he said something really amazing at one of those screenings. He said that this was the first time he'd ever stepped on set and felt comfortable to 100% be himself. And he wasn't modulating his gayness. He wasn't holding something back. He wasn't worried about where the light was or how he looked. Like he just came and was present in a way that he hadn't been yet on any other film, which was so special to hear.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow. And then that just, I feel like that gives the performance even more like strength in what is like what he does in this film. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, wow. Have you heard from him, by the way? Is he doing okay?
Yes, he's as he should be. He is resting. He is like
Good.
he is getting the right, like he's not doing conventions. He's not, because
Oh,
he
good.
will, he's the type of person that he will sit at a convention and sign autographs until, for 4 hours after he's supposed to be there, because if there are people that are waiting. And so I think that it was, for him to like actually slow down and get the rest that he needs is great. And that's what he's doing.
Good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Um, are there any other horror icons like Mark that you would ever want to work with or like would ever want to like have them in a movie?
I mean, I feel like Dee Wallace Stone is someone who like I loved always in so many movies. Um,
She's incredible. She's in
yeah,
so
she's
much.
incredible.
She's
I mean, I
so
think that
good.
Cujo is one of my favorite King adaptations ever. And I just the way that she, and I read in an interview that I think that she called that out as like her one of her if not her favorite performance that she's given. And I was like, yes, 100% I'm on
Yes,
board.
she's
Yeah.
incredible in that movie. It's so,
Yeah.
and it's so scary, and she sells it as so terrifying too.
Yeah.
Like it's wow, an
Yeah.
incredible performance.
I would say, yeah, I would say her. I
Amazing.
mean, there's
Cool.
probably 100 other ones too, but like she's the first
That's
one that I can think of.
amazing. Well, Carter, thank you so much for chatting with me today about Swallowed. This has been incredible to talk about worms and queer intimacy and all the good stuff. I really appreciate it. And
Yes.
everyone, Swallowed, check it out.